Now the third one, the mutual credit exchanges. This is the my takeaway from that visit. What they do is, there are 2-3 case studies. So small and medium businesses come together and they give credits up to limits set by themselves. So it need not be equal. When there is a problem. It is basically a bookkeeping arrangement. I will be expanding on this. We will spend a little time on this because they give credits up to limits set by themselves. That means 10-15 people come. So they say we will have a mutual credit exchange. They create an institutional mechanism. There is an arrangement for bookkeeping. And they say your credit limit is 50, your credit limit is 20. So there is an element of trust among the first people, obviously, it goes without saying. And then they start using this credit up to a limit. The difference is, in normal situation, the bank gives the cash credit for interest. Here you create your credit. You don't depend on the banks. This is the real tectonic shift which is being proposed.
What about valuation? I mean, you're just trusting the person to value whatever their product is.
Yes.
I mean, and is there any kind of a body or someone who's like auditing that or overseeing? Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, because you might say, oh, well, this is, yeah. How does that work?
Well, it can be started only with a loan.
Yeah.
It goes, that's an assumption there. So it could start small, my understanding, these type of initiatives. Then you expand to a known group or ask them to give a credit limit to some guarantee or some assets. That is up to the group team. They give credits up to limits set by themselves. There is no interest. And now, ideally 150. Why 150? One doesn't have it. But there are many studies to show. Then it is manageable now.
I'll tell you what that 150 comes from.
Businesses or 150 people?
Members.
150 businesses.
Businesses.
Actually, it comes from this that each person knows about 8 to 10 people that you can walk into their home at any time and you know them, therefore know them so well. Those people know 8 each, so it comes to 150. So what they mean is that community knows each other very well. It's in fact Facebook at one time thought they should just cut all these friends that people have which are beyond 150. Okay, because they thought it's all useless, right? They are not real friends in that sense and so on. So that's that 150. There are companies that operate on this principle. As soon as an organization grows beyond 150, they cut it and separate the company.
Let me make it clear that there is no scientific it's all by experience. These are all by above experience. And this line of mutual credit exchange could be regional, a geographic spread, but it could be also a sector. People say the wholesaler, the retailer, that line of thing also it could be used for a sectoral push. It's a transparent, whatever is the law of the land, is to follow. Next. Credit limits, this is one thing, start with equal. Then George Orwell, some animals are more equal than others. Then this problem comes. Credit limits need not be. This is because the consumption pattern of a unit changes. This again has to be worked. Learn by trial error, please.
When my son was very small, he said equal is not fair.
That's correct.
Equal is not fair.
And due diligence in fixing the credit limits. You will have to find out, and it has to evolve. Again, you start with some small credit limit when you start new business, and when you want to take a very safe number, say 20,000, 25,000 rupees. After a year, you increase your credit limit. You need not jump into the straight away. Do it casually, step by step. Very important, this mutual crediting arrangement is basically a bookkeeping arrangement and nothing more. That is, it should be secular in the sense it should not take I like this business, that business. Then you get into various traps. Your dharma is only to write your accounts properly. Rather, let the people do their other businesses the way they do. And it should be run professionally based on transaction or monthly fees. This is very important because what the previous experience, wherever it started, we'll be sharing some of these case studies, where it started with a lot of idealism. Then it doesn't work. It should be run on a business principle. And then go by idealism, after some time it fritters out.
So there's no money being really exchanged. There could be money being exchanged. So if somebody wanted to exchange money, then they have to pay some tax. But because all of this is, for the most part, the majority is not involving money, so there's no taxes collected.
My
Correct?
understanding is there will be tax. Because
By the,
I have
and
been
who's
thinking,
responsible for that? The seller is responsible.
see, in the seller, he will be only showing sale to this. See, only he is giving without that credit. These people keep only this mutual account, it's like a bank.
Right.
This virtually functions as a local clearing house.
Right.
I don't know, many of you are familiar with the clearing house. Now, of course, banks. See,
But if it's an
many years back, I worked as a clearing agent in a bank. It's a small town. That time IT was not there. This is in the 70s. All the banks would come together. The checks they have, give and go. They used to sit in the State Bank. Actually, State Bank is working as a representative of the Reserve Bank. And they will say, you owe me this, all on paper. They will hand over the checks to give, because you are from Union Bank, where you should check on State Bank. All this locally. That is not up country, within the town. They will settle it, and the difference they will keep in record. And that banks will adjust. So it's basically accounting entries thing, nothing it will be actual.
Yeah, maybe I'm not understanding something here, but I mean, if it's an equal trade and nobody is making a profit, then why does the government have a business in coming in and taking something,
Tax.
a tax?
Tax.
Because it's an even exchange.
Because
Perhaps
it's
my
really-
motivation for doing it is to meet the need of another person, and they're meeting my need, right? The needs are being met, but there's no profit and there's no investment. Perhaps, if you set it up that way, then what is the difference between doing that and saying that's a non-profit? So if it's a non-profit and it's registered as a non-profit, then why pay tax?
No, there are two separate things. One is this mutual credit clearing house is just a place like this which keeps accounts.
Yeah,
So it is a non-profit.
right.
But you sell to him through these points, then there is a transaction.
Yeah.
So whatever is the sales tax or value added tax you make, that you make. I am giving a very tentative answer.
Yes, so for example, the miles which
Yeah.
are given by
Yeah,
the
yeah.
airlines.
Yeah.
For airlines, it's a sale. For the customer, they are giving discount. But for the purpose, it's a sale.
It
The
is,
ticket is sold.
Then
So they are paying the service taxes and all.
It does
Still
not.
has to be there.
See, I will try to explain this mutual credit exchange, what it does. It is giving you working capital without interest and without going to the banks. This is all. Whatever I told is tentative, I think we all should collectively look into it. And how do you sustain this credit exchange? There are two routes. Either on a transaction-based fee or on a monthly fee. But the experience surprisingly is monthly fee is better. See, they have to keep a clerk, somebody to keep the accounts, they have to have an office. Minimum expenditure has to be sustained. Next. Now, within this group, you could differentiate between two categories of members. Member who get credit on day number one. Okay, I know you get a credit of 40,000, 50,000, 1 lakh, whatever. The second member, he starts supplying and then earns credit. So it's not on trust. He's a second line member, but slowly he graduates into first line member. This works very well when there is a big prime mover local. There is a local government. A local government, a local big spender like a factory, or I gave an example, if they offer 20%, then what happens? It triggers the economy much faster rather than people coming together. That's faster. For practical thing, let's go back. They can have a 80-20 formula, that is 20% in local retail. Why 20%? Just it is again a very random figure. Next. Now, how does it really help? Units SMEs get credits without interest, as I told you.
It is very fundamental principle.
As a community, they create the credits and arrange with banks, so they may use prevailing currency as a measure. They are off the grid, but for measurement purposes, they can use the local rupee as a, otherwise you get into a lot of confusion. And more important, you feel you are under control. Otherwise, it is under your control. And it also helps the local relationships and local economy.
Trust. These are things which cannot be measured. And based on trust and based on idealism, yes, that is the word that you have used.
Yeah.
Idealism should not be there. But now there is an example. In Spain, there is a Mondragon place. Now you know Mondragon. Then I will say that that model has produced a whole industry which was not affected by the slowdown in America. $16 billion income. They were all trained by priests. The workers, they were trained by priests, and they were having their own structure.
But they have the structure.
They have the structure is there, no doubt. Are we saying that there should be no structure?
No.
Principle. Idealism should not be there. Now,
No,
he said
what I
idealism
said
alone
is,
is
see,
sustainable.
this working of the mutual credit office should run on professional lines. Obviously, some idealism. I didn't mean in that sense. But you don't work idealism on
Just
only.
but you run on some principles. This is what I
Sir,
said.
do you say that professional line is not an idealism?
I don't want to get into that.
I just wanted
only
to-
said what happens. I will tell you. In many places, what the case studies show, most of them are young enthusiasts. Where are the failures? I come to the kid. Oh, उत्साह में they start something, and then तुम करके करो भाई, ये करो भाई. See, it doesn't work that way. What I'm trying to say is, if you want to do it seriously, it's systematically. You give your thing. This is what I meant. I don't want to
Totally agree with you.
move into this kind of thing.
No, what I understood him to say is that you can't say that if it's professional, it is not idealistic. But your idealism should not be bereft of professionalism.
Right.
So idealism is as distinct from something else, but it's not an opposite.
I just wanted to add to what he said is that the issue of trust. In the downturn in the U.S. economy, there were some companies that were not affected by that. And those companies were what I would call conscious companies. I don't know if you've been following the conscious capitalism movement, and that's founded on the principle that you focus on your stakeholders in the system. You don't focus on the shareholders. The shareholders are the ones that you pay the money to. You focus on everyone in the system. So your community, your suppliers, your consumers, your employees, everyone. And when you focus on all the elements in that system, whether it be a small system like this or a big business, a black business, or whatever you want to call it, everyone does well, and it's a win-win for everyone. So, like you're saying, it can't, the professionalism and idealism can live hand in hand. You know, you can't have one without the other. You can't be bereft of idealism and doing the right thing. Because if you do the right thing, you will be, and studies and case studies at Harvard, and you know, my husband is into this, so I've kind of picked up a bit of it. So they found that those companies like Patagonia and other companies, their profits during the downturn in the US were higher than all the other companies, even in normal times, because they focused on those things.
Next. Now some case studies. This is the oldest case study. WIR. It's in Switzerland in 34. I am told that 60% of the units in the economy is from small and medium units in Switzerland. And it has 50 to 60,000 active members, has a turnover of 2 billion, 26,000 units are members. And recently it has been converted into a bank. I do not know what type of bank. And they are quite secretive in one sense. They are not very forthcoming, that's what it says. But it seems to have sustained good and bad weather, ups and downs.
In fact, this secretive I think is quite a key thing I'm realizing, because when one goes deeper and deeper,
What is the
even
key thing?
self-secretive. Confidentiality. Confidentiality is, I think, something which is, when you go deeper and deeper into, there are certain things which society will not accept, but which are vital.
But one thing also that occurs to me, because Switzerland is often associated with the very, very, very wealthy. So I wonder how it would be different if, say, your active members, like a Bishi is for people who are really like maybe at the bottom rung of society. And then you've got so many different levels, right? All the way up there. So when we said that credit limit should not be equal, should there be some kind of, who's the lowest one and who's the highest one, and how will that, like if there's a huge gap between the two, will it work?
My answer, I can only give tentative answers. I think it should start with a small range. Then again it should be, it has to be democratic and partial, otherwise why this effort?
Yeah.
Only thing is it cannot be exactly, this is what I try to, subco 50,000, subco 60,000, don't do that. Then after some time, you land in problems, which I will be telling what are the problems you land in.
I think Schumacher and Small is Beautiful had said some percentage.
So this is one successful case study which has been, that is all these active members who do business among themselves have an internal credit arrangement without depending on another bank. Sum and substance is this one. Next, this is more relevant for us. This is a place in Italy. Now, the founders are dedicated to vision of way of humanize. It's an interest-free mutual fund. It seems to be little recent. It's about 10-15 years. And they take among the businesses in the town. It's a small town. And what they do is, they get from elsewhere, they try to replicate this supply chain and try to make it locally, slowly to revive the local economy.
Swadeshi, that is Swadeshi. Locally made and locally used.
And solidarity threshold is 1,000 euros as trade credit. I do not know whether it is equal for all. And restrict membership to firms registered as IRTA. See, this always will be there. How much to spread and how much to restrict. This is again you have to do by trial and error. There are no rules. And I think we should not have rules. All groups should allow to evolve the way they want. And basically,
But there are no rules when you say.
the rules means, I'm not saying universal rule. They have to
Exactly.
firm.
So-
See, now we decide we wind up at 130. This is a
Within the
rule frame for us.
Within the
This is
group
what
they
I-
will have their own.
What I understand to say is you don't have one set of rules which has to be applied in but Bihar as well as here.
Exactly.
That's
Each ground level
Yes.
has its own rules.
What is the tax complaint?
Compliant. They have agreed.
Compliant.
It is compliant.
They have
It's a spelling error.
Compliant.
Compliant.
complaint.
I think I am correct. Complaint I written. Sorry.
Tax compliant. Complying with taxes, that's what
Yes,
it
yes,
means.
yes.
Yeah.
There is some
Interesting.
other.
I want to know monetizing the unused capacity of members.
Okay.
How does that?
See, I thought I'll tell you then what they should do somebody doesn't have enough business, and this Sardinia Vyapari's son is trying to bring things from outside. They should say, "Arey bhai, hum kyun wahan se le rahe? We will buy local." So you train him, you build capacities. Today that imbalance is there. In other words, this is not going to happen overnight. What has happened is, over the years, the local economy has got so distorted, so weak, so emaciated. The skill sets are not there. So slowly it has to come one after the other. So as you work along, otherwise after some time you will reach a plateau and not move forward. This is what I think.
It's what you only were talking about, no? This whole question of labor intensive and low capital. So your local capacities, you're building on your local capacities and then building on it. That's what I understood.
See, I'll tell an example. And as a government officer, I have been involved with the self-help groups and all these things. Assam, where we went and saw, they all put an exhibition. All of them were selling that Assam silk. You know that Assam is famous for that Eri silk. Muga. Every 40-50 shops were selling. I mean, who is going to buy this? It's so costly. 6,000, 7,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees. And they were all sitting idle. Other than that, I thought, what is this type of a self-help group if all makes this type of thing for some Delhi market? That is not going to develop your economy. I understand one or two. So I thought rather they should help in creating some local economies as a group which they buy from elsewhere. And that will give the imbalance. Next.
Tax compliant. You have to say how the tax compliant.
Huh?
He had asked how do they do the tax. They have an agreement with the government to.
That I have not looked at. You see, these case studies were given. And I'll tell you where one case study where the speakers themselves came where they spoke to us. And we sharing them.
So if they're all making silk, then what should they?
What they should do is, first my understanding, this is what, there is a person called Giriraj, little near Mumbai, Madras. I know somebody might have heard about it. So what he did, he studied the purchase pattern of the local community of 10-15 villages. And he said, this all you start making by doing value addition at locally.
What they all need.
So basically what we are discussing, the local exchange, what they buy.
What they need.
So you have to study this, study little more and little. See, basically there are some distortions have happened. My limited understanding is. Always city has been there. Imagine some cities producing 40% of India's income tax. I understood tax ideas. This is a distortion that why so much production capacity should be in certain places and others you have just nothing. You go to the village today, there is no value addition. Everything, even except the labor. So everybody migrate to cities because there is no value addition. So how do you do this? What is happening is something like ocean. I used to read ocean currents. Hot from down of coal, the current will go from. So all the big companies are trying to find rural market. Rural fellows are trying to export their goods. Please try to understand. It's a very funny thing.
Yes.
And they are trying to find the bottom of the pyramid. And all this bottom of the pyramid, they are trying to find some export market. Therefore, there is something local. But this we do not know exactly. This is something we need to look into much more seriously. There is a huge tornado of last 20-30 years. That may be a trend, but that is not our destiny. So
It's very well put.
So after 20 years, things will change. So we have to be prepared for this
Nice
type
word.
of a
That's
thing.
a trend, not a destiny. Great.
So,
In short, we are not in sustainable mode.
Actually, that is also one way related.
so I limited that. I thought you saying that basically this whatever I limited understanding is to reduce the distortions of the areas. And number two, the power of the banking system, which you can take it back in your own way. This is what my limited understanding of this whole effort.
In a one way you are saying the situation, in a one way it is related to the way in which money is created. I mean, because people are exporting because they need money. They They are in scarcity of money. And there only the money is. And the money is created in the banking system, which actually is very closely associated with this big businesses industry. And so as you move away from the creation of a money, you get lower and lower share. So the way of actually connecting with this money cycle people choose is to, export in some sense.
I am not, had I been in that situation, I will also expect.
Yeah,
What I am
absolutely.
trying to say is, but some people have to think.
So
This is not something natural and start working together to find an alternate solution. I think the Kenya model, it is working in the slums of Kenya. There, because people are illiterate, it is, they issue business vouchers. They are not using complementary currency. Currency bale to somebody, people start, thinking in very different ways. So they use the word business vouchers, sort of a euphemistic, milder word. And it uses hard paper as it produces, papers are illiterate. It's called Bangla Pesa and report. It has some Bangladesh people living there or something like that. And it is working well. Please have a look at their website, grassrootseconomics.org, for full detail. It's quite, they have given a lot of literature. It is working last 3-4 years. I believe it is expanding, this model. This is for the poorest of the poor working in urban slum. And I am also interested personally, I would like to do some of the court cases, which they won. Why I am personally interested is Kenya, as you know, is a part of the British Commonwealth. Their case laws are relevant to us. And when we see it has been, and I think in England also there is a case law, and our courts will actually quote that rather than an Indian case.
Yes.